Okay, this is absolutely perfect. This story is perfect. It came up when I was actually talking about a different story. Okay, everything we're talking about. Everything we're talking about. Okay, so this is a British officer, okay, and it's gonna show you how global this is and how if you just remove where it's at, it's all the same. And so this is in Cyprus. They told a subordinate to stop acting like a rape victim. So everything they say is always to degrade women. Their language in men is always to degrade women. And then naturally they start degrading other groups of people, and that's where the other stuff comes in, right? We won't get into all that because that's like the secondary, that's a other thing that came out of it, which they need to get a clue about it. Okay, so they think that this is normal. They think that this portion of being a man is normal and then just went off on this other thing. I'm like, no, that's not what happened here. That's why y'all getting arrested. Okay, so the British Army's officer commanding of the Cyprus Joint Police Unit told a junior colleague to stop acting like a rape victim after they refused a drink. It's a bit of frat housing. It's a bit of the thing. So they were talking about the school thing. So school is basically a perfecting hunting ground for them perfecting their skills as a rapist. Okay. But before that, there's obviously something at home, and then the public enabled it, and then the church fuels it, right? Because they spill out the indoctrination. So how to treat them and abuse women and tell them what to do, and women are weak. So in all their language, when you sit and listen to it, it's absolutely atrocious. You know, that's constantly like, stop acting like a, girl, or suck my you know what, which has to do with the when they rape women, they force them to do that thing, and then they say that to men that they're fighting with, right? So when you see the military and them doing these wars and they go and rape everybody, right? Everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's a new thing." They're now using it as a weapon of war, and I'm just like, they've always have done that. It the women have to be stupid in this or something, because I don't. The men literally know what they're doing. I don't know, but it's just like there's this level of just, are you purposely acting stupid, or are you just pretending like you don't know what the hell's going on in the world? I mean, I don't know. It's just this thing, okay? That has always happened. It's part of this thing because when they fight, they want to sit there and rape them. It's just like, what the hell? They're mentally off. That's why they're sociopaths, okay? So that thing right there. Yeah, people I'm mad at, the last thing I want to do is have sex with them. But that's the action of rape, is trying to destroy another human, right? So why would they want to rape somebody that they hate? It's the action of those things. So they know what they're doing. They do it to degrade. And so in their language, literally, I could talk to some of you think they're like the nicest people in the world, and all of a sudden the shit will spew out. Like, yeah, this B word, this P word, this word and that word, and you throw like a girl, this and that, and boom boom. Everything is always like degrade women so I could feel strong as a man. That is the indoctrination. And that's where everybody's like so brainwashed. Y'all in a cult. That's what it's like to be in a cult. You don't know you're in a cult. You're fucking brainwashed. So yeah, it was a thing from childhood, but then it's layered with abuse, enabling, and they're perfecting their skills at home and in school. And so that's kind of what happened. And then they go into, college and, beyond, and then into the army. Now, the army is a non-fixable thing right now because you can't tell these guys to be non-violent. You can't don't kill anybody. You can't tell them these things because basically the army's there, in that way. And so it's difficult. Like, I'm having a problem of trying to figure out how you could even tackle it. And maybe that's the whole thing, is that it really shouldn't be there, but you couldn't just remove it because the globe right now is like, you're not in a position to want to do that. So maybe that's the answer to it. I was trying to figure the riddle, how you would tackle this, because you just couldn't. because you're telling them don't be this, but then at the same token you're telling them to do that. So they need them to be a sociopath to go do these actions, right? So it's a difficult area. So again, I'm thinking that it's just the whole thing that it shouldn't have ever been created, and it just is something that hopefully maybe in the long run in history that it'll fade away. It's just right now you have all these male supremacists everywhere wanting to kill everybody, and you know what I mean. So you have this problem, and that's kind of the difficulty with that area right there. So, but this is what he did. Okay, so it says, according to a paper, Major Simon McMahon made the remark to a non-commissioned officer while intoxicated during an event at the sergeant's mess in Episcopo. I think it's Episcopo or something, or Episcopi, I don't know, a British base near Limassol. The incident took place last April. So a military court in Catterick also heard that McMahon entered a heated discussion with a regimental sergeant major on the same evening. McMahon is said to have attempted to coerce the NCOs into continue drinking in the mess, telling one colleague to stop acting like a rape victim. You need to stop acting like a woman that's a victim, of me. Okay, according to the Daily Express, McMahon also trapped a female soldier against a wall and berated her at the evening in the barracks, and she did not pursue a complaint. Now, did I not just read this thing where they were doing this to boys? So yes, it's like a breeding ground, a perfecting their skill ground, where they're doing it also to boys. So in fact, they probably more or less started doing it to boys because they probably got more comfortable of like screwing around with their buddies, right? Because I was thinking about this. I was like, let me think about what we did as friends. So we were pretty comfortable being not really great, doing stupid crap to each other, but you're comfortable with it, right? So at some point, I never did anything to anybody else. So, but I'm thinking that maybe that's the point where, they start doing it to their pals, right? And then they go on to, start messing with these other kids, right? And starting to be these bullies and then putting them up against a wall and starting to, I feel powerful and I'm going to do all this crap to you. And, that was the football shit, right? So they start doing all this crap. And so then they do it to women. So yes, I mean, you're seeing this like dynamic, and like you probably read these stories and don't think twice about it, like where it came from. And so I'm just trying to break it down. Like you'll see the where it kind of starts blossoming out. I was like, it's like blooming out. And like they're already a problem by junior high. Actually, by junior high it's like kind of too late, so they're doing this thing, and then they start raping everybody. It's basically rape. So they for whatever reason they just minimize it all, call it frat housing, like this is no big deal. And this guy's like a total rapist, dude. He's like pushing her against a wall and they like degrading her, but he's degrading everybody, right? So he's like acting like a rape victim and doing this thing, and we got to degrade women so I feel like a man and I'm strong and I'm doing this. It's all these men, dude, and they're so stupid because every time they talk over us and then they act like this is normal. And I'm just sitting there going, you need a fucking head doctor. You're going to tell me that they only okayed to rape black women. Yeah. That's why I was like, nuh-uh. You need to revise that, dudes. I like dudes. So yeah, it's this thing right here. So yeah, so that was from childhood. So you see, he's an adult now. He's still doing it. Oh my God. You don't grow out of it. See, they're stuck in that childhood portion, and this is the actions they did there, and they just continue on, right? They continue on. They're adults. They keep continuing on. So they're stuck in little boyhood because they're socios. It's something with the PD, I guess, or they just stay right there. And then they act like a child the whole freaking time. Like they're stuck as that kid right there. But I think that has to do with the possible abuses from home because you see people act like a child still they may have been totally abused and they act like a child still. So I think it may have something to do with that. So, some other people that are, really on that thing, may be able to explain like why they would still be acting as this child right here. They didn't, there's no growing out of. They're basically stuck in that thing. Okay. So the bases protest. Okay, separately, British military installations in Cyprus were branded bases of death in the headline of leading features of Euronews website this week. The report, citing several articles, including declassified UK and whatever, and London and Washington, are supporting Israel's devastating offense in Gaza with weapons and intelligence from, okay, the base is part of Cyprus independent settlement in 1960, provide a strategic link for the West and the Eastern Mediterranean. Both bases provide Britain with important radar and communication facilities. The court martial is a Martel, I don't know. Heard McMahon had over a decade of unblemished services after graduating from the Army College at Sandhurst. You cannot pass this off that he never did that a million times before. That's the problem with it. It's not, they're trying, like, I love how they do this. They're like, he has never gotten in trouble before. And so we might just blame it on he was drunk and he's just something stressor here. He just started doing it out of freaking 30. No, this is actually from childhood. It's all from childhood, and it means that they were constantly acting in this way. There's no thing where they didn't have it in them, and then just one day, they just started up because they were stressed out and started raping the planet. That did not happen. That's actually not how it goes. So it means that when you say something like that, means you all covered it up. No one reported, or when they did report, you ignored it, you minimize it. So we do know they keep minimizing this conduct, and it's a rapist. You're minimizing a rapist. That's the facts about it. And they're going to rape while they're fighting in war as well. It's like an as well. It's like they're rapists. You put them in the army, and then they're going to go rape everybody. That's what he's doing. He's raping his own right here. Doing this stuff. Pushing people against a wall and saying this stuff. I had so many men do crap like this to me. It's just like, oh, do you feel like a man because you like push me to a wall? My mom's boyfriend did this too, like, because he didn't want me there because he's not getting the attention anymore. It was totally that. It was totally that. I want all the attention from your mama. And then I didn't do anything to him. So he walks in a hallway and he goes, boom, and he pushed me into a wall. And then she'd send him away. She's like, you need to leave for a while. I don't know. She actually did. And then she was mad because he's gone. And she's like, I want you gone because I need my man back. Yeah, she's that ridiculous. She's like a Cher. In fact, they're so much alike. It's like, I need my abusive man over here that doesn't like my kids. It's like, this guy would be gone. He would have been gone long ago. I would have never been with that guy just because he's a problem. But yeah, they do that. So they want to exert their power and control over you by being physically violent and for no good reason. But honestly, there was no good reason for that. It's just, I don't want you here. I want attention from your mom. Boom. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Yep. Things like that. That's from childhood. That's not a random thing that just happened because somebody snapped or any weird thing like that. And they continually call this shit bipolar. Okay. It's probably has to do with the way that they view that whole thing is completely wrong. I don't see any separation from the conduct from some of the people that they have said that about. It depends. I would need to see a hell of a lot of different cases, but they call some male supremacist guy like this, right? Where he was abused, and then they tell them that women need to listen to him, right? They need to listen to him. And if they don't listen to him, he's going to get mad because you're disrespecting his power and authority, right? So then all of a sudden, if you do, like a female goes, I'm not doing that. All of a sudden, they get from point A to fucking Z in about 1 second. and they get massively angry and violent, and then they go possibly kill a woman, right? They're calling that bipolar. I mean, I would not want, it's just the perception of what that is and where it came from that I'm like, no, that was a taught thing. Like, it's not, I mean, I don't know. You could look at, I wouldn't call it that. I feel that it minimizes the conduct here of abusers, and it's that one, and then they try to say, oh, it's from PTSD. I was like, no, well, sociopaths are created from abuse, right? So they try to equate like us being abused by that. Like this girl would have PTSD, right? From him throwing her against a wall, right? So she's not out there actually trying to rape everybody and being violent, to our knowledge from the story. And they're just, they would sit there and say to this guy has PTSD going on like this. Absolutely, I've been seeing it. And I'm like, no way in hell. He's acting violent like this because he's traumatized from war or some bullshit. Like they would say some shit like that. I'm like, nothing like that would turn you into a rapist. So it would have nothing to do with PTSD. So they were doing that. I go, somebody could have PTSD and be that, but I don't know if that helped. I don't know. It's in debate. Like it's in debate because they're not. If you're not traumatized by raping somebody else, I find it a little hard to have that and be traumatized by being harmed yourself, to then wanting to call that PTSD. It just may be that they're confusing the other thing with the other. Because if you got raped and stuff, like, and you're saying, oh, I got PTSD from it, and then you're out raping everybody, you're not traumatized by it. So it would conflict with your like something with that. Like, I don't know, but they're trying to mishmash all this shit together. And I go, I'm telling you, they're purposely enabling these guys to the point where they go, oh, this is out of curiosity of some guy throwing you against a wall and shoving a broom up you. I like, that is not curiosity. That has nothing to do with it. Kidnapping. I would not take a kid anywhere and drag him somewhere and do something like that. And I knew enough even as a kid to not do it. I was like, I don't know where he learned that was bad. I was trying to pinpoint the time that they told me that that's bad. It was probably like in a process of them going, don't touch your brother. Don't do this thing. You need to keep your hands to yourself. I think it was like in a process of that. And then at some point you like literally know, like, and you wouldn't have any attraction to little kids. So why would these men go after a little kid? Well, it's not necessarily that they're attracted to little kids. Like I'm saying they're attracted to little kids, but they're attracted to little kids because they see them as being very vulnerable, that they can get away with that crime with. I think it's more on that level, but there is some people out here that have some mental some weird things where they feel they relate with the child. So there's some additions in it. So it's kind of hard. I don't want to fully blanket statement like every single one only does it because of this, because there's other cases where it's like they want to go and marry the children, and it's like, what? I mean, really, like they feel like they're that kid and they feel equal, and they're this thing like that. But even still, that's from child abuse and some other crap, and I'm just like, it's all bad. And it's preventable. The other thing about it is that it's preventable, you guys. So it's all your fault.